Hi, everyone, and welcome to KeeperLive. My name is Josh Klapow, Keeper's Technical Partner Program Director. Keeper Security is the leading cybersecurity platform for mitigating password-related data breaches and the most common cyber attacks like ransomware. We are happy to announce that Keeper has teamed up with our friends at TraitWare to provide passwordless MFA with SSO. Today, we have Heath Spencer, CEO at TraitWare, joining us to discuss passwordless MFA and how Keeper and TraitWare are working together to increase password security. Welcome, Heath. Thanks for joining us. Would you like to take a second to introduce yourself and tell us a little about TraitWare?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh. Great to be here. Really excited to be working with you guys and helping people secure their digital lives. So my name's, as Josh mentioned, my name's Heath Spencer. I'm the CEO of TraitWare. And TraitWare is a passwordless multi-factor authenticated SSO provider that's really focused on just simplifying and securing your digital life.
Nice. Thank you, Heath. I know everyone's eager to begin, so let's get started. So first question I have for you, what does it look like for an organization to embrace passwordless technology?
Yeah, so embracing passwordless technology, I think we need a little bit of a definition about going passwordless, right? And what it really means. And, because there's a lot of different ways to go out there. And, in the real world, if you thought about passwordless or keyless, it'd be like having no key for your car, but you still need something to prove that you should be driving it, right? So we like to think about it as that going passwordless really needs to be a result of using a modern multi-factor authentication solution. So when you're looking at different solutions out there, you really need to make sure that you're focused on multi-factor authentication that's using a modern way to really say that, hey, this is who's supposed to be signing into this asset, whatever it is that you're signing into, that maybe by default it's eliminating the need for a knowledge-based factor in that instance.
Got it. So is passwordless technology really about getting rid of the password?
So in different environments, the answer is yes. It is about getting rid of the password and moving. The way TraitWare does is we move you to a token-based key, which is a rotating dynamic key. But that only works for applications that have modernized. So again, going back to modern multi-factor authentication. So the reason we've partnered with Keeper is that there's a certain percentage of applications out there, and that list is growing, that have modernized. Keeper's one of them that has modernized and allows us to sit in front of it now. However, there's still a large percentage of applications that still require a knowledge-based or form-based authentication. And,
Right.
the two of us together really can deliver a passwordless experience across all endpoints. But in the instances where TraitWare can be integrated using standards, we can eliminate the password in that very use case and just moving you to token-based authentication.
Great. So can you show us a little demonstration of the end user experience and how that all works?
Yeah. So this is going to show a service provider initiated login to a Keeper Vault using Keeper's SSO Connect tool that's part of the Keeper platform. So you can see, instead of being redirected to a username and password field box, a single-use one-time passcode or one-time QR code is presented. Then on the left is an example of my mobile device scanning my face after I open the TraitWare app, and then I scan the QR code. And that happened really, really fast. But basically, we have an app-based authenticator, like a lot of the other app-based authenticators that are out there. I mean, Keeper has a mobile app for doing things. And so for most people, you're using your face or your fingerprint to authenticate to the app, and then using that app to then authenticate to the application. So it's really a 3-touch login to your Keeper Vault.
That's great. Yeah, the first time I saw this, I was amazed at how easy it was. It's a really good user experience. It makes logging into Keeper super easy. I know for our users, the most challenging aspect of using any password manager is having to create a secure master password, committing it to memory, entering it to unlock your vault. But TraitWare makes it so much easier to get into the vault. It's a huge step forward in improving the access to Keeper. So,
Yeah.
but You've mentioned MFA a couple times. So multi-factor authentication is incredibly important in securing a Keeper user's vault. At Keeper, we always recommend users enable MFA, but people tend to associate MFA with, this cumbersome extra login step of entering a TOTP code from a separate device. In your demo, I didn't see anything that looked like traditional TOTP or SMS MFA. So how is TraitWare performing MFA here?
Yeah, so multi-factor authentication by definition is either something you are, something you know, somewhere you are. It could be a one-time passcode, etc. TraitWare strongly believes that all of those extra steps should be part of the technology, not the added layers of frustration for the user. So we've created something. So how TraitWare is deploying multi-factor authentication in the example that we just showed you is that we're leveraging something you are by taking advantage of the native biometric on your mobile device. So for most people today on an iOS device, that's Face ID, or maybe fingerprint. On an Android device, it's predominantly fingerprint reader. The great thing about using that biometric is the user stays in possession of it. They can delete it, change it. So it doesn't, ever make it where that's being used away from that person. They're in control of it. So it meets those privacy regulations there. So that gives us something that you are. And then TraitWare's patented technology is we register your mobile device as a secure key. And the way that you interact with your mobile device is unique to you. So it creates this unique key from that. And that's something that you possess. So now I've got a second factor. I have a key that I possess, and then my biometric to unlock that key. And then in the image that you saw where we authenticated to the Keeper Vault, you saw a QR code. So that QR code is in fact actually a one-time passcode that instead of me as the user having to receive in my mobile device and then type in on another screen, all I need to do is scan it. So instead of having to type that in, I just take a picture of it and I'm done. So in that login, we delivered 3 factors of authentication in that simple process to deliver MFA. We can actually add up 2 more factors and deliver up to 5-factor authentication in places that are needed. But 3 is typically enough for most people.
Yeah, that's certainly easier than having to go find a code on your phone and enter it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gotten used to just picking up your phone and unlocking it with your face. We believe it should be that simple to sign into any application.
Right. So for enterprise organizations that use identity providers like Okta or Azure for single sign-on, they might like to use passwordless as well. Is that possible?
Yeah, so just how the same way we integrate with Keeper as a modern endpoint using authentication standards, TraitWare can integrate to Okta, Azure, Ping, Forge, any of the other major identity providers in that same fashion. So we can run, if you have an existing customer that's already deployed Okta and has Keeper inside of their Okta environment, we could sit in front of that Okta environment. Then the rest would be the same for them without changing anything. So and a lot of the other ones, there's multi-modalities of passwordless out there. There's hardware-based tokens. There's software-based tokens. We happen to be one of those software ones. You can use us with you directly. We also can be the IDP, or you can use us with existing IDPs that are out there.
Okay. And then for organizations that use the integrated Keeper directory and don't use a third-party identity provider, can TraitWare be integrated with that?
Oh, absolutely. So the short answer is yes. We can work with any directory schema. Keeper's built obviously a super robust user management system. We're simply providing the authentication to that directory, and then however you're managing authorization inside of that is up to you. But yeah, we can sit just right in front of the Keeper directory.
Perfect. So let's move on to some support issues. So password recovery is a huge support burden for a lot of organizations. How does passwordless technology address those concerns and help an organization's support staff?
Yeah, so password recovery, it goes beyond just recovering someone's password. It goes all the way through password management, password policy, on like how lengthy the password needs to be, all of that, and all of that in the training around phishing, etc. So moving to passwordless MFA, you're again moving someone to using a multi-factor enabled key. So instead of having to recover a password, if they need to recover something, you only need to recover the key. The great thing about the way TraitWare works, and again, this works for either directly with the Keeper directory or with Okta or anything else, but if you're using TraitWare for MFA and for single sign-on, all of the applications that are inside of that SSO portal would instantly be recovered as soon as you recover the key, instead of having to recover a unique password to each application. And then this gets extended if you were enforcing MFA on each application. The MFA is instantly re-provisioned to the SSO portal rather than having to pair a password and an MFA key to each application. So it drastically reduces that support need.
Right. Nice. So, so is passwordless authentication an enforceable company policy?
So again, going back to the earlier comments around, so passwordless by default, again, it depends on what you're using. So I think multi-factor authentication is what is enforceable as a company policy. And that's, Ann Johnson, corporate vice president of cybersecurity at Microsoft. She believes you got to get to 100% coverage of MFA. And that's really what needs to be being enforced as a company policy. So if the passwordless is a default of deploying a really modern MFA solution, then absolutely, yes, it's enforceable as a company policy.
Great. So some of our customers work in highly regulated industries. Is passwordless authentication compliant with regulatory standards?
So compliance and regulations vary across industry. And using the term passwordless also can be misleading, like we've already discussed. So typically under regulation or compliance, you'll find multi-factor authentication as the requirement. So this is where TraitWare meets and exceeds the standards because our patented solution is built from the ground up as a multi-factor authentication platform. This deploys MFA at account creation and for every login request. So in short, it's always on, where legacy 2FA or other MFA providers must be added after the fact and are an option. So we actually help companies mature their compliance and regulatory need because the MFA is on by default. It's not, you don't add it after the fact.
Okay, good deal. So I know TraitWare. Excuse me. I know TraitWare uses Keeper with TraitWare in-house.
Yep.
And from an admin's perspective, can you sort of walk us through the setup process, what you went through to integrate TraitWare with Keeper?
Oh, absolutely. So we love how Keeper has provided us with a way to have 100% login coverage internally. So again, earlier in the conversation, a percentage of modern apps have allowed us to be passwordless, and then there's still some out there that we need form-based for. So to deploy TraitWare to our Keeper account, we simply launch the SSO Connect tool inside the Keeper admin console, and then use the SAML template and exportable XML file from Keeper to turn on SSO for the node we want to use passwordless MFA access for. And you're done in minutes. Literally the first time I showed this to you and to Craig, I think he did it in under 7 minutes or something like that. So it's very simple because Keeper's built a robust product, and the SSO Connect tool makes it very easy to turn it on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, while testing the integration between Keeper and TraitWare myself, when we were beginning discussing our partnership, I did it myself, and it was super easy. And I love the TraitWare work right out of the box with SSO Connect Cloud and simple SAML configuration. And most of our business customers are already familiar with that setup. And like you said, it was just minutes, and we were set up. It sets up like any other single sign-on provider.
Yep.
So yeah, that's great. So how does this partnership with TraitWare and Keeper help further protect organizations from cyber attacks?
So again, our relationship with Keeper moves organizations towards 100% of MFA coverage and best practices around password management, right? So this eliminates the vulnerability of enforcing a strong master password and 2FA, MFA at the front of your vault. And then also for any of those form-based authentications using Keeper, your admins can really enforce using strong password generation inside of the Keeper app, and then giving that user a passwordless experience of just launching from there, and then using the Keeper app as your OTP for those form-based authentications. So it really, as both organizations know from TraitWare and from Keeper, 81% of every data breach and ransomware attack is directly related to a misused password. So putting the two of us together, it just extremely enhances your ability to deliver strong authentication at the edge of the network.
Right. So we have customers of all sizes. I mean, 5 users, 100,000 users. So can only big organizations reap the benefits of a solution like this?
No, obviously big organizations can reap a big benefit from this, but we actually strongly believe that the SMB is really who needs help. While large enterprises can see a big win using these solutions together, both TraitWare and Keeper are simple to deploy and easy to administrate, so making them very SMB friendly. And really, it's the SMBs that don't have large IT departments, et cetera, that are struggling to not be attacked by ransomware. So this, putting these two solutions together for the SMB, I think is critical for them.
Nice. That's actually really interesting. And these days, remote work's on everyone's mind. So how does deploying passwordless authentication affect an organization's remote workforce?
Yeah, so whether it's true, all remote or hybrid these days, by moving to an SSO platform that allows access from anywhere, it allows you to work from anywhere. We've seen throughout the last 2 years of the pandemic a very, very accelerated move to the cloud, rather than just using a VPN and logging into a remote desktop that's sitting in an office. A lot of organizations, even SMBs, have moved a lot of their communication tools, email, et cetera, are all just being hosted in the cloud. So having passwordless MFA and single sign-on to all of your tools from anywhere allows you to work from anywhere.
Awesome. So this is great stuff, Heath. We're really excited to be working with you and having TraitWare available in Keeper. We're all about making logins easier, and TraitWare really takes us to the next level in making logging into your Keeper Vault a really frictionless experience. So if someone wants to learn more about TraitWare, where would they go?
So yeah, you can visit our website at traitware.com. If you're on LinkedIn, you can DM me or Mark Simpson here on LinkedIn. You can email sales@traitware.com, as well as ask your Keeper representative to connect you with the right person.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Heath, for joining us today to discuss our new partnership. For more information on Keeper, please visit us at keepersecurity.com. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's session of KeeperLive. To see more videos like this, follow Keeper Security on LinkedIn and Twitter, and we will see you next time. Thank you again, Heath. Have a good one.